Ever pick out a cartoon for your kid? Or like settle in for a Netflix binge and get this weird feel like, wait, is there something else going on here? Like someone's agenda is playing out right before your eyes, but like kind of cleverly disguised?
Yeah.
That's what we're diving into today.
I like it.
You've sent over some really fascinating excerpts on subversive messaging.
Yeah.
And we're going to unpack how to spot those hidden agendas, especially in the media we consume every day.
Right.
Because honestly, who has time to like dissect every TV show or analyze every commercial?
It's impossible.
Right.
You go crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah, you drive yourself nuts.
So our source material kicks things off with this fascinating figure, Edward Bernays.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, his name might not ring a bell immediately, but get this. He is considered the father of public relations.
Yeah.
And his tactics are still shockingly relevant today,
Yeah.
almost a century later.
It's incredible.
He even had a nickname,
Oh, really?
the Master of Manipulation,
Ooh.
which I have to admit is a little unnerving,
Yeah.
but also kind of intriguing, right?
Well, to understand Bernays' methods, we need to go deeper than just catchy slogans and, marketing lingo.
Okay.
You see, Bernays wasn't just some marketing guru.
Right.
He was the nephew of Sigmund Freud,
Oh, wow.
the father of psychoanalysis.
Okay.
So Bernays took those groundbreaking insights about human desire, the subconscious, all that juicy stuff,
Yeah.
and he figured out how to apply them to marketing.
So he was like hacking our brains,
Yeah.
but in a sales kind of way.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
A prime example, how did smoking, which used to be very taboo for women,
Right.
suddenly become cool in the 1920s?
Yeah.
Enter Bernays, hired by a tobacco company.
Wow.
He masterfully reframed cigarettes as torches of freedom, aligning them with the women's suffrage movement.
Oh, wow.
He tapped into those deep desires for empowerment and rebellion.
And boom, women started lighting up, completely unaware that they were being subtly influenced
Yes.
by a marketing campaign designed to play on their aspirations.
It wasn't just about selling cigarettes.
Right.
It was about selling a feeling, an idea.
Wow.
And that's the core of Bernays' work.
Okay.
Linking products and ideas to our deepest desires and anxieties.
Which brings us to another fascinating tidbit from our source.
Okay,
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Remember Mark Randolph, co-founder of Netflix?
Yes. He
He happens to be Edward Bernays' grandnephew.
I didn't know that.
Isn't that wild? Wow.
Now, before we go down a rabbit hole of conspiracy theories,
Right.
this doesn't mean that Netflix isn't inherently bad or anything like that.
No, of course not.
Right. It's not about pointing fingers.
It's about understanding the lineage of persuasion.
Okay.
The way stories are told, choices are framed.
Yeah.
These principles have a history, and understanding that history can give us a new perspective on the media we consume.
So it's not about ditching Netflix. It's about watching it with a more discerning eye,
Exactly.
recognizing that even harmless entertainment can subtly shape our views.
It's true.
Okay, that's quite a legacy Bernays left behind, right?
Yeah.
Makes you wonder what he could have accomplished with social media today.
Right.
But let's move on from Bernays himself and talk tactics.
Our source dives into some really sneaky ways this subversive messaging pops up in our daily lives. And frankly, it's a little alarming.
Yeah, once you see these tactics in action,
Right.
you can't unsee them.
It's true.
They're everywhere.
So the first one they mention is check the source, which seems kind of obvious,
Right.
but it's easy to forget.
It is. We often forget that everyone has an agenda.
That's true.
Corporations,
Yeah.
governments, even nonprofits.
Right.
And those agendas influence the content they produce, even if it seems harmless.
Okay, so picture this. Your kid's glued to the latest cartoon, right?
Right, yeah.
Seems innocent enough.
Yeah.
But our source reminds us to ask, who is funding this?
Yes.
A lot of times it's toy companies using entertainment as like a stealth operation
Totally.
to get those action figures on your kid's wish list.
That's right. And it's not just toys. It's like documentaries
Oh, yeah.
that push a certain viewpoint or news outlets that are known to favor one side of the story.
So it's really important to ask yourself, who benefits from me seeing this?
Yeah. Who benefits? Who's the one that wants me to see this and why?
Exactly.
Big questions.
Okay, what's next?
Emotional manipulation.
Ooh, big one.
This one's huge.
This one gets us every time.
It really does.
Our source says to watch out for content that's really heavy on the feels. You know, fear, anger, even like over-the-top excitement
Yeah.
without much logic to back it up.
If you're being told what to feel instead of being presented with information to form your own opinion,
Yes.
red flag.
Okay, like those political ads that come on
Yeah.
during election season.
100%.
It's just like really scary music and then vague accusations.
Exactly.
Not really telling you what's going on.
They're just trying to get you riled up.
Right.
So you'll vote a certain way without even thinking critically about the issues.
Or how about those commercials for home security systems?
Oh, yeah.
That make you terrified to even be home alone.
Oh, my gosh, yes. Preying on our insecurities.
Right.
Like a classic tactic.
Okay, so moving on. Our source talks about stereotypes and repetition. And this one feels sneaky.
This is a sneaky one.
Because it disguises itself as, like, harmless fun.
Yeah, can you think of an example?
Yeah, like those sitcom jokes
Yes.
that always make light of gender roles.
Right.
Or portray certain ethnicities as always the sidekick, never the hero.
Yes, always the sidekick.
Right.
Never the hero. And that subtly perpetuates harmful stereotypes.
And especially when it's repeated over and over again.
That's it. Repetition is key.
Right.
You see it once, it's whatever.
Yeah.
You see it over and over and over again, and it starts to feel normal,
Right. Becomes normal.
acceptable, even desirable.
Okay, so like how product placement in movies and TV shows
Oh, yeah.
subtly normalizes certain brands
Yes.
as like must-have.
It's branding through osmosis,
Wow.
right?
That's a good one.
Okay, let's talk about symbols and imagery.
Okay.
This is a fascinating one.
Yeah, how much meaning can be packed into something visual?
I know, it's incredible how much meaning
Right.
can be packed into a color scheme.
Like, I never even thought about it before, but how often do you see the bad guys in movies wearing darker colors?
Oh, yeah.
It's like this subconscious link between darkness and evil.
It's so true. And think about how certain products use colors to target different demographics.
Right, like pink for girls,
Pink for girls, blue for boys.
blue for boys, yeah.
These associations are so ingrained in our culture,
It's true.
but they're often strategically used to influence our choices.
It's like subliminal messaging, but visual.
Exactly. It's visual, subliminal messaging.
Okay, that one's mind-blowing.
Right.
Okay, what's next?
This one's maybe the most concerning to me.
Okay.
Beware harmless appearances.
Ooh, okay.
This is like the boss level.
Because it's disguised as just pure entertainment.
Yes, and especially when it's targeted at kids.
Oh, yeah.
That's when I get concerned.
So what should we be on the lookout for?
Our source points out how some kids' shows subtly push this idea of rebelling against authority.
Right.
Like it's cool to disobey your parents or your teachers.
Interesting.
And it's so subtle that kids don't even realize they're being influenced.
Wow.
And then, of course, there's the consumerism
Right.
that's presented as like the key to happiness.
The newest everything.
The latest gadgets, the coolest clothes.
Yeah, gotta have it.
You got to have it. And if you don't have it, you're not cool.
It's not always overt either. It's in the background.
That's right.
Storylines, the subtle messages that kind of seep in.
It's in the details.
Yeah.
It's really about being aware of these tactics.
Oh.
Once you know what to look for,
Yeah.
you can start to see through the manipulation
That's right.
and make more informed choices.
I don't know about you, but I'm ready to, like, chuck my TV out the window and live in a media-free bubble after all this.
Right. It can feel overwhelming.
It really can.
Like, where do you even begin?
Exactly.
But it's not about hiding from the world. It's about engaging consciously. You know?
Okay, so eyes wide open.
Exactly, with our eyes wide open.
So where do we start?
Our source suggests starting with being active participants in what our kids are watching.
Okay, so not just, like, passive viewing.
No, not just background noise. Make it a family affair.
So instead of go watch your show, it's, hey, let's watch this together.
Exactly. Watch together and then talk about it.
And, like, ask them questions.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Ask them, why do you think that character did that? Or what message is this commercial trying to send?
Like, we're equipping them with their own little BS detector for media.
Exactly.
Love it. Our source also talks about setting boundaries around screen time.
Yes. Boundaries are crucial.
Which, let's be honest, can be tricky, right?
It's a balancing act.
It is.
You want to be the cool parent, but you also want to,
Right.
set
Yep.
healthy limits.
And, like, not make them feel like they're missing out.
Exactly.
Because everybody else gets to.
Right.
So how do you approach that?
Well, it's about offering alternatives, right?
Okay.
So limiting screen time, yes,
Mm.
but also encouraging other activities like reading, playing outside, having those good old-fashioned conversations.
Right. So they're not just always looking at a screen,
Exactly.
getting all their information and values from.
It's all about balance.
Right.
And while we're on the topic, don't forget about parental controls.
Oh, yeah. Those are clutch.
They're there for a reason.
They are a lifesaver.
Most streaming services offer them.
Right.
Use them.
But our source does make a good point that, like, they're not foolproof.
No, they're not foolproof.
You can't just, like, set it and forget it.
Exactly. Parental controls work best when they're combined with those open conversations we're talking
Yeah,
about.
like you still got to be involved.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, what else?
This is a big one, offering alternatives.
Okay. How do you do that?
Well, if your kids are bombarded with messages about consumerism, for example.
Which, let's face it, most of them are.
Most of them are, right?
Yeah.
Try introducing them to a documentary about minimalism.
Oh, interesting. Okay, flip the script.
Exactly. Or if they're drawn to shows that glorify rebellion,
Yeah.
maybe offer some stories about empathy and cooperation.
So it's not about, like, censoring things. It's just about showing them that there's another way to look at it.
Exactly. There's always another perspective.
Yeah. And then I love this last point that they make in the source. Keep those lines of communication open.
So important.
Encourage your kids to talk about what they're watching.
Yes. What do they enjoy? What makes them uncomfortable?
Yeah, what feels icky.
Yes. What feels off?
Because usually if something feels icky, it's a sign to, like, look a little deeper.
Exactly. Trust your gut.
Well, this deep dive has been quite the whirlwind.
It has.
We went from the father of public relations to, like, dissecting sneaky tactics used in cartoons.
It's amazing how much more aware you become.
I know, just from understanding a few key concepts.
Absolutely. And remember, the goal isn't to make you paranoid. It's to empower you.
Right.
The knowledge we've explored today gives you the tools to spot these tactics and make more informed choices for yourself and your family.
So next time you're settling in for movie night or you're scrolling through social media, just remember to keep those subversive messaging detectors on high alert.
Yes. Be aware.
You never know what agendas might be lurking behind that catchy jingle or that heartwarming story.
It's true.
And who knows, maybe you'll even start noticing these tactics in everyday conversations.
Absolutely. It's everywhere.
It is everywhere.
The more you practice spotting these tactics, the more it becomes second nature.
Right.
And that's when you really take back control of the information you consume.
That's when you become like the ultimate media consumer.
Exactly.
Well, we've covered so much today, but we would love to hear your thoughts.
Yes, please share.
What resonated with you? What are you going to do differently?
What are you going to do?
Keep those mental gears turning because we have another fascinating deep dive lined up for you soon.
Can't wait.